GERENetwork.com.
This is a GERE Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is sponsored by our store through Amazon. If you visit shopgear.com, please remember to do that, because when you do, you provide gasoline to the engine known as GERE Radio Network, and that helps this podcast continue. It is the best way to shop for yourself, and is the best way to support this podcast. Now, on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, GERE Network presents the Football Talk Weekly Podcast with John Siemian and Brandon Gorell. And now, here's John.
Here I am, ladies and gentlemen. Here I be. It is week 3, and it starts with us. What is good, everybody? How's it going? My name is John Siemian at VJCMoney on the Twitter, and jamming over here, he who likes the Football Talk Weekly theme song, I guess.
Yeah, tonight's I'm feeling it tonight.
I enjoy it. I like it.
Wow.
Anyways, TV and radio's Mr. Brandon Gorell. Brandon, say hello.
Oh, hello. Hey, what was I on TV?
I don't know. I introduced you as TV's Brandon Gorell last week, so I'll just keep it going.
Daytime soap opera star.
There you go.
I won't tell you which one. You're going to have to look out for it.
That's right. He is not the new Jason Morgan. Anyways, we are sponsored, of course, by ShopGear.com. And, folks, again, holiday season is upon us. Believe it or not, it's here. The
countdown begins.
The first one's coming up, my friends, my babies. Get yourself, your kids, or your pet a costume.
Don't get yourself one. Get your kids one.
Don't get your pet one.
I'd rather you get your pet one than an adult.
Why?
Because adults that go to the office dressed up in outfits are freaks.
No. You know,
They're
go to the
losers.
office dressed up in an outfit.
Yeah, but what else are they going to need the costume for? They're going to show up to work and
Do you really need me to?
I'm 45.
Do you really need me to say that? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
No, there's still plenty of people that go out there and dress up in costumes as 45-year-old adults that go to their office job and they're like, look at me, I'm a sock monkey. No, you're an idiot. You should have just wore your normal clothes every day because we know it. You would have saved yourself money.
I think in my case, I would probably go to work wearing a tie. You know, a button-down shirt. That would be my Halloween. And then I would just loosen it a little bit and bring it down just so I could read the paper. And they would be like, they would look at me and they would be like, what are you doing? Why don't you just take the tie off? And I'll say, no, because I'm a douche. That's what I am for Halloween. I'm a douche. And I'm reading the paper.
Should have told them that you're looking for new jobs.
Hey, well, we'll leave that one be.
This is Interview Man.
Yes, Interview Man. Very good. Interview Man. Now I really might do that.
Interview Man.
Week 2 has ended. Week 3 is here. You are beginning it with us, and we thank you for that. Brandon, what'd you think about Week 2? Was it a little more action-packed? Oh, I guess not. Indeed. I got to tell you, the games that were on locally, to those of us that don't have DirecTV.
I mean, I have DirecTV, but it wasn't much better.
I know you
going anywhere else.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Before I realized that the password worked on my Xbox from last year, I ended up going online to just, find a stream of something. And so I ended up watching the Steelers game for a little bit because that at some point, was somewhat competitive, but the local game that they had on TV, the Bills and the Panthers game.
Holy shit.
I came on record last week and said that the Jets-Bills game was boring, but
this was worse.
This was 10 times worse.
It was followed up with a really bad 49ers and Seahawks game, too.
Yeah, and the NFL
is just bad all weekend.
And the NFL is wondering why ratings are down. I mean, I will give the devil
LA Chargers game was a pretty good game, but nobody saw it.
Right. Honestly, it's a good segue into where I was going to go. Because speaking of LA, the mayor of Los Angeles said outright that he feels that his city would have been fine with just the Rams.
Right. Well, they weren't really fine with the Rams.
Well, right. But listen,
they're okay.
But listen
Let's
to
not get carried away.
The attendance for both the Rams and the Chargers games were not very good.
No. They were like your SAT scores.
Right.
Pretty low.
The NFL, however, the NFL, of course, is still confident that the Los Angeles market will boom. The optics of the first NFL Sunday with 2 home games in Los Angeles in more than 20 years were, Brandon, as they call it, undeniably bad.
Yeah. Again, I will say that this will not be anything until they get a new stadium. Mm-hmm. Once they get a new stadium, it's going to be like every other LA event. Famous people will be showing up to it because, you know what? Famous people aren't going to go sit in the hot sun in LA in the middle of the day roasting their asses off. They want a nice temperature-controlled dome arena with a retractable roof so that the players are hot, but the people in the stands are just fine.
Right.
Once LA becomes like a destination for people to be seen at, is at Rams games or Chargers games, they'll do well once they have a stadium. But if you're expecting them to go to USC and play in the Coliseum, you're just not going to get it.
Right.
You're going to sell out USC because it's mostly drunken college students.
Right, yeah.
They have a reason to go because, well, they're there anyway, so let's get drunk and go to the football game. But
right, I agree.
Nobody has to go to the Rams or Chargers games because, A, they're not super exciting teams to begin with. I mean, Rivers is still fun to watch.
Yeah.
They should have won on Sunday.
They should have.
But there's just not a great product, plus not a great place to watch the product. And I think that's the biggest drawback for them.
Okay.
I mean, they're not being smart.
Right.
Whereas, like, the Raiders, they're playing a season in Oakland here. Are they playing next year, too?
They're playing the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, next 3 seasons until their new stadium is ready.
Right.
So they're going to be playing in Oakland. The Oakland fans are still coming to the games because they're going to enjoy them while they last.
Right.
And then
the Raiders die to me when
they're going to go right into
Oakland.
Las Vegas
with
a brand new stadium.
Exactly.
And they're going to sell that bitch out real quick.
Right. And that's the way to do it. Not necessarily not the way that this is happening.
Pick up and leave and go play at a college stadium.
Right. Or in a soccer stadium. And here are some numbers for you. The Chargers, they failed to sell out their first home game in the StubHub Center, which is a 27,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
Which is most notably used for Major League Soccer.
That's Major League terrible.
I think the final number for that was 25,000 something. But in any event, the Rams announced an official attendance of 56,612.
Yeah.
I personally think it was a little lower, but in a stadium that seats 93,000 people, I guess maybe. An NFL spokesperson on Monday said that the league and officials from both teams, quote, remain confident about the Los Angeles market.
They should. It's the first couple of weeks. It's not a huge deal. I still believe that once a stadium is built, it's going to put asses in the seats.
The Chargers and Rams combined attendance of 81,993 falls short of USC versus Texas, which drew 84,714.
Right. So. Exactly. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be right now. I mean, again, not a great team. Mm-hmm. Either one of them. It's not like they have perennial playoff records, coming through. I mean, the Raiders made the playoffs. Not the Raiders. The Chargers almost made the playoffs.
Right.
But then they went and lost like 4 games in a row on the stretch, including to the Browns.
It was really weird to see that soccer stadium with NFL football in it, like on TV. It looked really weid.
Yeah, and then it's so big.
And then the funny thing is, did you see the end of the game when Young Ho Koo,
they missed the field goal, and then they still blew off the cannon.
They still blew off the cannons because the people that were in charge of that heard the roar of the crowd, not realizing the majority of them were Dolphins fans.
Yeah,
that were there. So,
yeah, that's a bad look. That's a bad look.
It's
terrible. Tough, but again, I'm not ready to pile onto the LA thing. They did it wrong by not having a stadium in place,
right,
where they can play and playing in these temporary garbage stadiums. We know that's part of the reason most people don't go to other stadiums is because, I mean, they weren't going to the Rams or the Chargers because those stadiums were ancient.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wanted to go to those anymore. They all wanted to do stadiums. They kept saying, hey, we want a new stadium, we want a new stadium, we want a new stadium. And then City wouldn't give enough, and the NFL's like, well, we're not going to pay for all of it.
Right.
So they moved them to L.A.
I do think that San Diego was probably the dumbest situation out of all of them, because San Diego really should have. Like,
they should have built them something.
What do they have?
But they're doing the same thing. Yeah, they're doing the same thing, is that they're saying, well, you know, you need us more than we need you. Mm-hmm. You guys haven't been putting people in seats for a long time. That's
the strong arm that they did with the Padres, and when the Padres threatened to move, I think, to San Jose, I want to say. It was San Jose. Yeah. And they did the same thing.
Have done that too. Poor San Jose. They keep thinking they're going to get a major league franchise, and only to get new stadiums built.
Now moving from the West Coast that has two teams in one city over to the East Coast that has two teams in one city.
Bad looks.
I have been saying, Brandon, since the end of last season's Football Talk Weekly, that the Jets were going to be terrible. That the Jets were going to be the worst team playing in New York. And then, Brandon, the New York Football Giants said, hold my beer. They have opened up 0-2 to begin the season, and quite frankly have been playing worse than the Jets, whom themselves are not trying to win. The Jets are not putting out a team that's trying to win football games.
The Giants are. The Giants look like they're going to be contenders.
Right. So through 2 games, the Giants have only scored 13 points, while the Jets have put up 32. And then to make matters worse, this past Monday, after the Monday Night Football loss to Detroit, head coach Ben McAdoo openly called Eli Manning sloppy in his post-game press conference.
He should know, because have you seen how that man dresses?
Right. Wide receiver Odell Beckham returned, but saw limited action with 4 receptions for 36 yards, and wide receiver Brandon Marshall had his guaranteed 1 big drop a game.
Yeah.
The offensive line is sketchy at best, but I ask you this, Brandon, is this the case? Is this just the case as far as the Lions versus the Giants go? Are the Giants really bad, or are the Lions better than advertised?
No, the Giants are really bad right now. Their offensive line is going to get Eli killed, as he put it. Odell is not playing at 100%. He is a huge part of their offense, because he not only makes ridiculous catches and a lot of yardage afterwards, but he also draws a lot of coverage. So
right.
Leaves guys like Marshall and damn it, what's this other guy's name? I don't know, the other receiver that they got.
Yeah.
Sterling
Shepard.
Yeah. So those guys are not getting open because, you know, they're not worried about Odell Beckham Jr. right now. Eli's just got no time to throw a ball.
No, he doesn't. They don't have a running game.
The Lions aren't that great. I mean, Matt Stafford won that game. He threw 2 touchdowns and like 128 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not anything to write home about. I mean, that's not highest paid player.
That's
in the
Christian
league
Hackenberg.
Money. Yeah, but they won because the Giants are just that much worse.
Right.
They'll right the ship eventually. I don't think they'll be this bad all season.
I would certainly hope
they'll make some adjustments to try to work around that really bad offensive line. Mm-hmm. Maybe quicker timing throws and patterns and stuff to kind of get teams to back off a little bit.
Right.
They could sure use a dose of the run game. They don't really have one.
Right. They don't. They had big.
Their defense is playing pretty well, but their offense is just atrocious right now.
Right.
They can't get anything going.
If you would have said to me
120
before the season began that the New York Jets and New York Giants would both be 0-2, and the Jets would have
Jets were actually better.
We're actually better than them, I would say you're an idiot. That doesn't know or understand the game. But that's why, Brandon, they play the game.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on and go with some NFL quick hits here, Brandon. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Jay-Z, or Mr. Beyonce, reportedly turns down the Super Bowl halftime show. The Source.com reported that Jay-Z. I'm Jay-Z.
You're Jay-Z.
Yes.
He's Jay-Z. 122 yards, by the way, and 15 completions for Stafford.
Oh, Jesus, that's awful. He's declined an opportunity to do the honors during intermission. Last year, Adele reportedly rejected the gig as well before the Lady Gaga agreed to do it.
Because she was rolling in the deep.
The NFL did not directly dispute the report, saying that Jay-Z passed on the gig. I looked at this, and you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking it's more, again, the Kaepernick story. You know, that's the underlying thing. Like, Jay-Z's going to be like, nah, man, screw that. But at least that's what I would think. Jesus. Oh, no.
Oh, that's terrible.
Jason Pierre-Paul meme. Terrible. Speaking of terrible, Brandon, with every passing week, the decision by the Colts to not leave quarterback Andrew Luck on the physically unable to perform list begins to look more and more dubious.
Yeah.
Via Stephen Holder of the Indianapolis Star, Colts coach Chuck Pagano said Luck would not practice this week, pushing the windows for his return from shoulder surgery back another week. Brandon, the Colts are a royal mess.
Yeah. I mean, it starts with their owner.
Well,
It just trickles on down.
Well, yes.
A suitcase full of meds.
I heard something about maybe it was probably a joke, but Chuck Pagano, he must be depressed in that job, and he's just like, kill me now, kind of thing. Like, get rid of
I fought cancer for this. Good
Chuck
Lord.
Strong. Hey Brandon, last week Tom Brady was done, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
This week, Tom Brady was named the AFC Offensive Player of the
back.
Week for his bounce-back performance against the New Orleans Saints. Brady was 30 of 39 for 447 yards and 3 touchdowns as New England recovered from their loss to the
but
Chiefs.
It's still Tom Brady.
Brady was subpar in the game against the Chiefs. He was 16 of 36 for 267 yards, no touchdowns, and openly discussed how angry that had made him. I'd say he bounced back pretty good, didn't he?
Yeah. You don't make Tom Brady angry.
Right.
He goes, let's go!
Heck no.
Let's go, Lake!
Former NFL All-Pro cornerback Charles Tillman is training to become an FBI agent.
Peanut
Sources
Tillman on the
confirmed
case.
To ESPN on
I want
Thursday
to hear the
evening.
Chiefs say, Peanut, what do you got for us? Well, sir, I've got a hunch.
According to multiple ESPN sources, Tillman is currently at the FBI Training Academy in Virginia. He's 36 years old, and he earned a criminal justice degree from Louisiana Lafayette.
That's why finish your school, man.
Yep. His father
Always
was
finish it.
His father was a sergeant in the Army, and and Tillman himself, his interest in possibly joining the FBI after football actually dates back to his playing career, during which Tillman, according to another source, occasionally observed and worked alongside law enforcement officials during off seasons. That's not uncommon for people like that. Shaq always did that too in the off season.
Sheriff Shaq. He's just the worst undercover agent that could be, though.
You know why I pulled you over? I was telling
You know why I'm here at this drug ring?
You were driving very fast.
Can you guys sell me some drugs? No.
Brandon, the Miami Dolphins suspended starting outside linebacker Lawrence Timmons indefinitely.
Yeah.
Timmons went AWOL from the team unexpectedly this past weekend and did not play in Sunday's 19-17 road victory.
So if he's got mental issues,
over the Los Angeles
benching
Chargers.
him and telling him he's not going to be able to play for a while is really going to help that. Good move, Miami.
Yes.
I mean, unless it's something stupid like he fell asleep and he was out at the script club all night the night before, then that's one thing. But if he's had some serious mental issues or something going on, and you're going to be like, all right, well, I know how to punish you.
Right.
You're grounded for like the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Or until we tell you so.
Yeah. Because that works so well with your kids,
Yeah, it does.
But Timmons signed a 2-year, $10 million contract back in March. He has yet to play a game. So they don't say how long the suspension will last. The collective bargaining agreement as it currently sits allows teams to suspend a player for up to 4 games for detrimental conduct.
Whatever.
And the NFL power rankings are up, and Brandon, those Dirty Birds.
Yeah, they're number one.
They are number one with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't know how they're number
2.
one. First of all, they escaped the Bears. And second, they pretty much had to escape the Packers after grabbing a huge lead. Mm-hmm. Even though Green Bay started without their 2 starting tackles plus their backup tackle. Lost Jordy Nelson in the first. Lost Mike Daniels in the first. And then lost Randall Cobb in the third. Mm-hmm. But yet they had a 31-7 7 lead, so it was a 24-point lead, and they almost blew it.
Side note,
Green Bay could have got the ball back. Who knows?
Chris Collinsworth, for as much as I do not like him,
I don't like him at all.
Made a reference about, Atlanta fans shouldn't really be comfortable with this lead earlier in the game, which I thought was funny. Because they blew a 25-point lead.
I don't see how they're number one. There's other teams in the league that are better than them.
Pittsburgh ended up at number 2. New England went at number 4. Green Bay fell to 5.
You think the Chiefs are better? I think the Chiefs are better.
They are. I think they're 3.
Yeah.
And the Jets, Brandon, are at 32.
Yeah. Who's at 33?
The Giants.
Oh.
As the Giants were bumbling their way to another loss, Brandon, this is what I was holding off telling you before the podcast began. As the Giants were bumbling their way to another loss, due in no small part to wide receiver Brandon Marshall dropping just about everything thrown in his general vicinity, angry Giants fans took to Twitter to voice their displeasure at the wide receiver whom the Giants signed in the offseason.
Yeah.
Except that in their blind rage, Brandon, they were targeting the wrong Brandon Marshall. There are 2 Brandon Marshalls in the NFL, if you don't know. The wide receiver that plays for the hapless Giants, and the other is a linebacker and a key cog in the Broncos' swarming defense.
Yeah.
And the latter took great pleasure in trolling those mistaken fans who felt compelled to vent their frustrations at the guy sharing the same name as the embattled Giants wideout.
As he should.
It was hysterical. There was one, they should bench you or whatever, and he would respond back with, "Come meet me. I got these hands. I'll show you where these hands could catch." Things like that. And meanwhile, there was there was a lot of them that they were just and he was just sitting there typing away at those trolls.
What else you got to do, man? I mean, he's just soaking in the tub after a big victory.
Right. It was
sitting in the cold tub.
It was hilarious. So
tweeting it out.
It was absolutely hysterical. But that is it for the first portion of the show.
All right.
The quick hits and all that. We will come back with GERE Network Pick Em and more BS, up to and including, Brandon, a conversation I had at a local watering hole with a Patriots fan.
All right.
And I'm hoping to see this guy.
Speak easy.
I am hoping to see this guy at that place again this week, just to collect his thoughts and see what he thinks. But I will share that when we come back in just a few moments. Stick around. Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into GERE Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America? That one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that.
And a little of what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Dawn, is a real humdinger. Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the GERE Radio Network.
And the GERE Network app.
The Get Ready America podcast, returning soon to the GERE Radio Network. IndyCar Media is your one-stop shop for quality designs at a quality price. They offer merchandising, company branding, event posters, custom clothing designs, and so much more. Check out their gallery of past designs by visiting facebook.com/IndyCar Media and tell them what you think. That's IndyCar Media, 337-446-4331 or IndyCardMafia@gmail.com. Tell them that we sent you. Again, 337-446-4331. IndyCar Media. Bring your designs to life. And now, back to Football Talk Weekly. Or something. I don't know.
With John Somino and Brandon TV Gorell.
Yeah, there you go. Something like that. I got to record new voice bumpers for the podcast.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very long time. But I think having one to come back into would be nice. But what you are listening to is Brandon, what is it? Hail to the
Prophets
Chief from
of Rage.
Who? Prophets of Rage?
Yeah, Hail to the Chief.
Hail to the Chief. You can get this on Apple Music. You can also get this through our store at Amazon using the redirect link, of course, shopgear.com.
Good song.
Such a dope song.
Good album.
This
like,
chorus here. This chorus here gets me.
Yeah, I was explaining to him off the air about being a '90s kid. You've got the best of all worlds, man. Like even '80s, like I grew up with 80s hip-hop with Public Enemy. At like one of the first shows I got to see Public Enemy and the Beastie Boys at the War Memorial in Rochester here, when it was a cool name. Yeah, saw them, and you had 80s and then the 90s. They're kind of timeless with Public Enemy, and then you've got Cypress Hill in the 90s, and then you got Rage Against the Machine in the 90s, and you kind of just combine all three of those, and it's like, it's like the rock version if you would have like combined like the remaining members of Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and,
right?
Threw Eddie Vedder in the mix. You know what I just noticed?
Yes, this has the software that we're using breaking down the wall here. The software.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
The software that I am using here, it has a mixer with a fader in here. So if I really wanted to play DJ, I could.
You could.
Let's see here.
Oh, what do we got here? Let's not.
Why not?
It's a wet dream here.
What are you talking about?
What?
Listen, I like to play with new toys here. Okay, Hail to the Chiefs, right?
Yep.
And now we go back to 1978. It's all the way live, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And start mixing Hail to the Chief in there. Back to Hail to the Chief. All right. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, yes, that's enough of that. I'll play around with that a little later on. All right, Brandon, we are back officially here. And GERE Network Pick Em. Brandon, once again, my man, on the champion every week.
Yes, Young Ho Koo again.
Thank you, Young Ho.
Me.
Thank you, Young Ho. R. Kelly, Young Ho? 12-4 I was on the week.
Young.
Brandon 11-5. That brings Brandon's total to 19-12 on the season, whereas I am a shiny 21-10. Brandon 2 games back on the season. This week we have 2 differences, so you could make up these games.
We could.
We're going to start with the Lions and the Falcons. I have the Lions. You have the Falcons. Or no, I'm sorry. It's the other way around.
Incorrect.
It was the other way around. See, I've already lost one.
Hit your
game.
little DJ thing and scratch it back to 20 minutes ago when we had this conversation.
Sorry, I failed.
Jesus!
Okay, Brandon, you had the Lions.
Yes.
I had the Falcons. That's
yes.
Right. I write stuff down. I don't know. I go by what the script says.
Correct.
Why do you have your interdivision rivals?
Because they're playing really good football on the defensive side of the ball right now. They've got like a lot of takeaways right now. They're getting after the quarterback. They got stopping the run game. They're doing everything on defense that they're supposed to, and then some by getting all the turnovers. Mm-hmm. The offense, Matt Stafford usually has really good games at home, and he had a kind of, I'd say, subpar week the week before, but he only threw it like 19 times. He completed 15 for 122 and 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's not turning the ball over, so I think combined with that and their speed, and now they've got some special team game too, with Atlanta hurting on defense after losing Vic Beasley.
Yep.
After Beasley went out of the game, they didn't get much rush on the Packers.
And I totally have forgotten about the Vic Beasley thing.
Too late.
When I picked the Falcons. I picked the Falcons because Stafford is not Aaron Rodgers, and they were getting to Aaron Rodgers before the Beasley injury.
Yeah, but
they
the
were
Lions
getting to
line
Aaron
is
Rodgers.
Playing really well.
What's that?
The Lions line is healthy, where the Packers was not.
Right. But I still would take the Falcons defense prior to the injury. Again, I picked it, but I'm going to stick to my guns anyways.
Do it.
Atlanta's
You'll probably still win anyways.
Atlanta's
Matt Prater will donk one off the field goal post. When they're going to win a game.
I hope not. I have Prater
straight week.
I have Prater in one of my leagues. I know that, but in any event, I'm sticking with the Falcons there.
All right.
I'm going to say the defense is going to be big for them. And then in the second game, Seattle against Tennessee. Brandon, you have Tennessee. I have Seattle. I'm picking Seattle again for the defense, not so much their offense. Their offense is kind of junk. They struggled against the 49ers.
Yeah.
Their defense, the thing with the defense is that the defense can only keep them in so many games for so long.
Right.
Before they just get tired and pissed and Richard Sherman, smacks a hoe,
Right.
A young hoe, and but it's still early enough in the season that I think the defense could contain Mariota.
The problem that they're having, too, on defense, they're not getting a lot of turnovers. And,
That's true.
You know, the offense is really, really bad.
Their
offensive line is their starting line, and they're giving up all that pressure on Wilson. That's their starting line. It's not like they have a better line that's, you know, in the waiting. Like, they're bad.
Here is where the Titans, I think, really have an edge. It's at running back.
Yeah.
Because DeMarco Murray right now...
versus rookie Carson.
DeMarco Murray,
yeah,
he went out last game. They don't know his status yet for this game. I believe he did practice, but But they're saying that he might be limited in the game. Derrick Henry is behind him, and he's kind of a beast.
Right.
And he's really not that bad. So that's a 1-2 punch that would scare me. That being said, I still think I'm just going to give the edge to Seattle's defense. But again, if their offense isn't doing jack shit this season, which they aren't, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they
might
put
just
up
be a
37
throwaway.
against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville looked pretty good the week before against the Texans, but
Right, but Jacksonville's still Jacksonville.
right.
So
But
either way.
their defense is pretty decent too.
But all right, we will see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully I win.
Brandon, you win both games. It's an
I'll
even
be the
playing
champion
field.
every week and a tie up in the championship.
Yes, you would. You would tie, and then it would be like week 1 all over again.
Yes.
But, all right, so that concludes the usual part of the podcast. On to the BS
Are we getting
portion.
into the unusual part of the podcast?
Unusual, what I like to call the bullshit portion, Brandon.
Oh.
So the other day, I go to the Genesee Brew House
Yes.
to refill a growler.
Yes, I've been waiting for this story.
And the bartender the bartender himself, as I hand him my growler, mind you, I'm in a bar in Rochester, which is in the heart of Bill's country. I'm
So you already know you're
I'm
low IQ, underemployed,
right,
underwashed.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm figuring I'm going to hear a bunch of Bills talk. What is it going to be this week? Oh, Tyrod is going to be great, and then
over intoxicated,
whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Instead, this guy starts talking to one of these Bills fans, and he's like, as he's filling my growler, he's like, "Oh, my quarterback's a dinosaur." And I kind of just glared at him, and I'm thinking, is this guy a Jets fan? Because
who has the dinosaur in this league?
And I said, wait a minute.
There isn't really a lot of old quarterbacks.
I said, okay. I said, well, who's your quarterback? And he's like, Tom Brady. And I never thought I heard a bar go silent. But it was kind of like one of those record scratches, like
it was like
everybody just kind of slowly turned and looked at him.
It was like the old commercial for old El Paso salsa.
yes,
when they're all
yes.
sitting around the campfire and they're all rowdy and they're all excited about the salsa and they ask where it's made and they said New York City and everyone gets
New
frozen.
York City.
Like, get the rope.
Yes,
they're gonna hang the guy.
It was pretty much like that. Like
that guy was gonna get hung in that bar.
I sat there and I looked at him, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" He's like, "Oh, did you see that game against the Chiefs? He's got nothing left in the tank. He's 40." And I looked at him and I was like, "Dude, you are talking to a guy that hasn't had a franchise quarterback since 8 years before he was born."
Right. You had a quarterback that looked like he was 40 when he was 20.
Right. I said,
Jim Kelly with his 7 hairs flapping in the wind.
and he was like, well, what do you mean? What team are you a fan? I said, I got Josh freaking McCown as my starting quarterback. I would take Tom Brady. I would take week 1 against Kansas City Chief.
One-legged Tom Brady over Josh McCown.
Over Josh McCown.
Give him a peg
and then all of a
just
sudden
have
I
him
hear
stand in the pocket.
But then all of a sudden I hear, hey, wait, there's another Jets fan here? Holy crap. And he runs over to me. He's like, oh, I'm always alone when I'm here. And so I'm like, yeah, well, the Jets are.
You're about to be
alone.
too. My growler's filled. See ya.
Pretty much.
That would have been me.
But then the Bills fans got all riled up and they're like, wait a minute. No, I don't like the Patriots at all, and I hope they lose every game. But I wouldn't be upset if Tom Brady was on my team. If Tom Brady was in Buffalo, I wouldn't be upset with that. How could you be like that? I mean, And it goes back to the conversation that we had last week, Brandon, where I said Pats fans, and you kind of, towards the end of it, you gave the benefit of the doubt. You said maybe it was just one knucklehead that probably threw something out there and then they picked it up.
Yeah.
But, like, seriously, I didn't think I would...
found the knucklehead.
I didn't think I would actually discover the knucklehead that would...
You're the one guy on the internet getting all this attention?
Literally one game after the Super Bowl that he won.
Right.
You're trying to say he's washed up. And you had two Jets fans and the rest of the Bills fans stop and look at this guy like, motherfucker, what is the matter with you?
It was like the hyenas in the Lion King, and they're just like drooling like, we'll take Brady.
Yeah.
We don't have quarterbacks in our team.
And the two Jets fans are like, y'all shopping Garoppolo? We'll take him.
You guys would have taken Jacoby Brissett.
Yes. The Colts have him now, so.
Yeah.
But
didn't do so well this week.
No, they did not. The Colts are a mess. I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Luck bounces out of there when he's able to.
He's not. He just locked up for a long time.
I know he's locked up for a long time,
like
but
12 years.
Jay Cutler was locked up for a while in Denver.
But Jay Cutler got traded.
Right.
You think the Colts are going to trade Andrew Luck?
Jay Cutler got traded because he went Jay Cutler on everybody and was just like, don't care about this. Don't care. I want to get out of Denver.
But the thing is that the owner of the Colts doesn't care either. So
yeah,
he's not going to get rid of him.
True.
It's not going to work. Andrew Luck is he's staying there until he's a dinosaur.
Do you think
the only way that
Andrew
the Colts
Luck
get rid of
leave,
quarterbacks is if they have double neck fusion surgery? That's the only way to get rid of their quarterback.
That's true. And even then, after
going to retire a Colt,
after double neck fusion surgery, and they let him go, he ended up going to 2 Super Bowls and winning one of them afterward. Meanwhile,
really bad in both of them too.
Yeah, he did. But you know what? He'll be able to say he won 2 with 2 different teams. All right, Brandon. Notre Dame is on primetime again this week.
Yeah.
They're on primetime, and then the Packers.
That run game. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Brandon Wimbush.
Yeah.
He made
the backs, though, were really solid. Just the line kind of bullied Boston College around. Like, it was close, and they were just like, you know what? Enough of this crap. This has gone on long enough.
Well, and
taken over.
And I had seen the first touchdown run by Wimbush, and then I went and I started painting the bathroom, and I came back. What's that?
He said Bush.
Yes, I did. And hail to the chief. No, I'm sorry, that was a long time ago. But I would take that chief over this one.
Yeah.
Anyways, not getting political here. Then I go. I'm doing a home improvement project, and I come out and I see your text. Don't even get me started on me. Christ. Let's get back to the center here, not the right. Thank you.
I know how to get him going.
I come out. I see text message from you. Say, did you see these other 2 runs that he had? And I'm like, hell no, I had no idea.
Yeah, dude, some of those were just nasty, like ankle breakers.
Yeah. So, hopefully his pass game shapes up a bit, but they're still in it. One loss.
He's a freshman. He
is.
He'll get there.
He'll be a freshman until
next year.
Right. That's about all I have. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
I got a few things, actually. Friday night, I'm going to see comedian John Mulaney with my bestest friend in the world, Carrie Leffler.
Hi, Leffler.
At the Fringe Fest in Rochester. So that'll be fun. And then Saturday, I have my 20th high school reunion. Not sure how I feel about it.
You actually going to that?
Yeah, my cousins all graduated with me, so it was fun, and have some beers and hang out, and get out for the evening, I guess. Catch up with a few other people, and
I missed out on my 10 years. I missed out on my 10 year.
I went to my 10, and I got really hammered at my 10. I was at the A Street Pub, and I went with Justin and Carrie, and we got wrecked.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
No, I missed out on my 10 because I didn't really like high school very much, so I don't. But when 20 rolls around, maybe. Just to see.
Yeah.
It's always. I guess it's always nice to see your old friends, old acquaintances.
Yeah.
People you hated in high school.
Yeah, I didn't really hate anybody.
Yeah, I hated lots of people.
I didn't really. I was just kind of there.
Young John was an asshole. Older John, I guess,
still an asshole.
But I'm a more reserved.
But you're
asshole.
that kind of asshole that people like.
Yeah.
You're a likable asshole.
I'm a likable asshole.
He's a decent asshole.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, that's cool about Mulaney. And as for me, I have started a brand new class.
Oh,
I am in the Final Four, Brandon. The Final Four. Java Programming 1 started this week.
Sorry.
No, it's Programming 1 and then Programming 2 after that. So, grand total of 10 weeks between the two courses.
The thing with Java coding is like lines of code they just seem unnecessarily long.
Yeah, they do. Like I'm still, public void, public main, public this. I'm kind of looking at this like, what does this all mean?
Yeah, I remember when I first started at my new job, well, my current job, I should say, we were working on the automation solution, and the stuff that we had was kind of limited with Selenium, so we had to inject like actual JavaScript code into the data source so that it would kind of plug it in, and it would just accept it, and it would run the JavaScript in it so that it would actually recognize something on the page.
Okay.
And like the line was just like astronomically long, and there's like all these special characters and dollar sign. I'm like, what the F? How do you know this shit? Like, thank you. I'm gonna stick in my own lane.
I had to learn. I had to self-teach myself enough to get by in those Android courses.
Yeah.
When I start, and I've been toying around with the Android mobile stuff since, in the hopes of developing a solid GERE Network app at some point. But I could bring up some stuff. I'm sure you've obviously seen, plenty in your, but just like the Android Studio, just the way it looks, it's just like line after line after line of just shit. Like that's all I could. That's the best way to describe it.
Like at least with .NET, you can read it. Like when you're doing .NET coding, you read stuff, and there's a lot of stored procedures.
C++, I can.
Yeah, exactly.
I can read that pretty easily.
Yeah, there's stuff that you can understand. And it's like, okay, this is just English. It's just we got some, symbols and shit like that before it. But Java, it's like, what is this? It's like a computer threw up. Like it just ate a bunch of stuff at the carnival. It like ate cotton candy, peanuts, popcorn, and then got on like that scrambler ride where it just spins you around and around, and then all of a sudden you just throw up like this carnival salsa all over the ground. That's what Java looks like to me sometimes.
No lie.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Nerd Talk Weekly.
Yes, Nerd Talk Weekly, but no lie, and we're closing on this note here, but no lie. What you just mentioned, Brandon, Lunchbox did a few times when we were kids.
Of course he did.
And again, it all circles back to that rant. I don't know why. Made me laugh, but all right. I told you that was an all-timer, Brandon.
Yeah,
that was an all-timer. If you didn't listen, if you hadn't listened to it, maybe I'll throw it in the best of at some point, or you can go back through the archives and look. Apparently, Apple Podcasts has made that really easy, so that's nice. But in any event, this has been the Football Talk Weekly Podcast for this week. Week 3, again, is upon us. ShopGear.com, it is your friend. And we will be back again to start Week 4 for you next week. That is 1 week from today. So with that, I bid you all adieu. Mr. Brandon Guerrero, good day to you, sir.
And good day to you as well, sir.
So long, everybody. Good night now.
I wonder the guy who created E.T. just like looked at a pretzel and said, let's just throw a bunch of shit on it. Because it looks like E.T.
Okay.
Oh, you're still recording?
Well, I was.
Remember to see more National Football League action next week.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the GERE Network.